back to the DMG's to the Wrong YouTube channel. My name is Mike, and today I'm joined by both Dylan and Gage. How's it going?
Whoa.
It's good. We got the full gang back together. Dylan decided to show up.
Yeah, sorry I had to be a father for a little bit.
Lame! I'm just kidding.
Not
Yeah.
okay.
Congratulations.
You'll hear some random baby noises because I am feeding the most hungriest baby in the world right now. So if you hear something, that's just the little kid. So yeah, but got some time here. So what are we doing?
Well,
When's the draft?
well, we're just gonna move on. We're just gonna move
Who
on.
did the Patriots take?
There's something
go,
strange.
Go watch my video and you'll find out.
Yeah. You have a video? Does Gage have a video?
Gage also has a video. If you guys are interested in the Patriots, Browns, or the Colts,
Wow.
you're gonna have one too, Dylan.
Oh,
So
I'm excited.
check them out in the description down below. But
Oh.
we're going to jump into this video. But before we do that, hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, because we see that 90% of you guys that watch these videos are not subscribed. So what are you doing? What the heck you doing? You're already here. You might as well just hit it. Do us all a big favor, baby. Just hit that button, baby. So,
Yeah. Comment who your winner or loser of the draft is.
Oh, yeah,
Hopefully
baby.
ours.
And tell us why we're right. I mean,
we never get anything wrong. All right,
Yeah, we
moving into
didn't
the...
name our whole YouTube channel about us getting stuff wrong.
Yeah, shut up.
I mean,
moving into the video.
I think we got like 6% of the draft right. So what's up?
Hey,
Yeah,
it
let's
ain't
go.
bad, baby. It ain't bad. Well, as you can tell from on your screen right here, we're going to be going over the winners and the losers of this past draft that happened last week and in Vegas. So, with all that being said,
That was last week, wasn't it?
was last week. So with all that being
Yeah.
said, here we go. Is this a numerical order? Who the person right here is who we think absolutely won the draft?
Just top 5.
All right,
Yeah.
top 5.
Yeah, it's
Top
too
five.
hard to really. Yeah. I'll
You
say
can make an argument for all of them.
yeah.
Oh, I gotta click it. Oh gosh.
But
Oh,
up
there you go.
first, we got Mikey's favorite team right here, the New York Jets. Not only did they win, I think they did a great job of winning the draft this year. I think they won like the offseason. They've had a great offseason.
And they didn't win it in Jacksonville Jaguars fashion. They won it in getting good players and
At right
and not-
prices.
yeah, and great prices and not just blowing the budget just below the budget. So yeah, they who's the GM there? It's
Douglas, Joe Douglas.
Joe Douglas. Yeah, he's putting it together. So yeah.
Maybe Bill Belichick should take some notes on how to build up a squad like Joe Douglas.
Bill Belichick drafts what he wants. He doesn't care about the best player available, as we saw.
Yeah.
Well, Mikey, how do you feel about it all?
About the
I mean-
Jets?
Yeah. Now that the Patriots are probably going to end up finishing 4th.
How do I feel about the Jets? Well, first thing that comes to my mind is they still have Zach Wilson at quarterback, so you can take that for what you will.
You're gonna be eating your words on that one, bud.
No, I'm not.
And this is
Zach-
a Madden where you can just chuck it 90 yards.
This is the same team that lost to Mark Butt Fumble Sanchez 2 years in a row in the playoffs.
So, anyways, they still have Zach Wilson at quarterback, right? And
Yes.
Yeah, Rivas
They're not-
Island, I mean Gardner Island back.
they're not just gonna. Zach Wilson just isn't gonna turn into Joe Burrow overnight and have the craziest second year of a career ever. That
Or
just,
will he?
No, he won't. It's
Tune
Zach
into
Wilson.
Michael's hottest takes.
No, but yeah, I think they used their draft capital and everything very wisely, especially in this first round here. You can't see it because of our faces are in the way, but that is also Garrett Wilson, along with Ahmad Sauce Gardner and Jermaine Johnson the third, I believe.
Yeah, so they picked up Sauce 4th overall.
Yep.
We all think that he's the best corner in the draft.
100% was.
They did a great job there. Garrett Wilson, he ended up being like our number 1 wide receiver at the end. when we did all of our rankings.
Yeah.
We kind of that's kind of who we kind of all agreed on, and he's very good. Just another weapon for Zach Wilson. They went out and they got. Not only did they help pack their defense, but they also helped Zach Wilson. You know, they picked up Who's Your Mama from the Bengals for tight end. They got him another wide receiver. They re-signed Barrios, and they seem to have a connection towards the end of the year. They got a couple of starting linemen to help protect him. So,
They also got Jeremy Ruckert and Brees Hall.
yeah, yeah. Just they did it. They did a very good job. They did what the complete opposite of what the Bears are trying to do and putting their quarterback in the worst situation possible.
Yeah.
They got Jermaine Johnson with the 26th pick. Like you said, they got Brees Hall. They traded up for him in the second round, picked him 36th. They also got, like you said, Jeremy Ruckert, tight end out of Ohio State. They also picked up another tackle that they, I think, would potentially hope that he's kind of like a swing guy.
Who was it? Was it Max Mitchell?
Yeah, for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt Mitchell
Out
from
of Louisiana.
Louisiana.
He's actually
The
not bad.
Ravens.
I think he was kind of underrated. He doesn't look too bad. Like he could do something.
And
So,
then
yeah,
they
I
got.
think- No,
Go ahead, Mikey.
I was gonna
No,
say,
no, no.
I think they had a solid draft. They did very well this whole off season, preparing for draft or leading up to draft, and then draft days. They did amazing. I think they won it all. They did absolutely insane. Good for them. I'm glad the Jets are getting some sort of like motivation, I guess, or something for the season, or like inspiration, or I can't find the word I'm looking for. They're getting hyped up, basically. They're getting hyped for the season. The team's doing cool things. They're building a squad. Now just gotta make it all happen.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited to see what they're gonna do. My dad was saying my little brother had like a draft party, and like him and all of his friends watched it, and they're like talking about how the Jets are gonna make the playoffs, and my dad's just laughing at him. He's like, just because they got three good players in the draft does not mean they're making the playoffs. They still,
Yeah.
are the Jets, and they have to be good.
They'll
But
make
it's
the
a
playoffs
step in
in
the
a
right
few
direction.
years. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Mm,
this is
I don't know about that.
My last kind of little take here is I would say the Jets are kind of doing in a sense what the Rams do, but not in an extreme level. They kind of said F them picks to a lot of their other picks that they weren't going to use. So they traded up to get Jermaine, and they traded up to get Brees
They-
Hall.
They didn't have
Mhm.
any picks after the fourth round. They were done.
yeah,
Which,
but they put in work. So
yeah, get starters. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of in the sense what the Rams have done, but just in a different way.
Yeah, but they're one of our favorites for this. Moving on to the second team, though, I got the Baltimore Ravens.
Some cheesy looking dudes.
Yeah, whatever. They did a
Um,
really good job as per usual because the Ravens know how to draft. The Steelers generally know how to. They just kind of biffed up their first pick this year. I mean, they did the best pick they possibly could. But back to the Ravens, they got Kyle Hamilton, who, if he played at any other position besides safety, and he was as good as he was at safety as those positions, would have been top 3. And they got him at 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just annoying. Really annoying.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they stayed at 14 and then already had a deal worked out for Marquise Brown to go to Arizona. All he had to do is give up a third pick along with him to get the first round pick for the Cardinals. They then traded back like 2 picks to still get Tyler Linderbaum.
Yep, and that was the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's gonna go and start in their line already.
Yeah.
So I mean that Marquise Brown trade is kind of a double-edged sword, right? You got rid of Lamar's favorite weapon on the wide receiver group, besides Mark Andrews, which I think it should be considered. Mark Andrews is that wide receiving group,
Yeah.
but they didn't replace them with anything. Like there is no deep threat on the Ravens that you have to be scared about. Like I'm not scared of Bateman or Newmerville. Like so that part didn't really make sense. But they got a first round pick for Hollywood Brown, and he didn't even meet the expectations of his first round selection. So really good job on their part.
Yeah.
And then they got another first round player in the second round, David Ojabo.
Yeah.
because he got hurt. And if there's any team that's going to make a freaky athletic pass rusher that's got all the talent in the world and develop him, I wonder what team that would be. Maybe the team he ended up with in the Ravens.
Oh,
Like that just made me so mad.
they also have a couple other connections to them. They have Odafe Owe,
Yeah.
Yeah,
who was a
definitely.
big key with him kind of coming into playing football as well. And then Harbaugh brothers
Hmm.
changing over coaches from one brother to another. So I'm sure they knew the whole situation very well.
And then in the third round, they went and got Travis Jones, which really, really made me mad because that was like a few picks before the Browns, and they got him, and I wanted
Yeah,
them.
I
Like,
mocked him
like,
in the first round.
yeah, crazy. And then they also got Daniel Falalele. I think this pick's awful. You can try
Yeah,
to compare it to Orlando Brown all you want because Brown was massive and big. Brown actually knew how to block,
yeah,
and he could move. Even though he was that big, you could watch him on the field and he can move. Daniel literally is sedimentary. Like that dude cannot move. It is
yeah,
bad. Like bad. Please start him on Miles Garrett's side. Go ahead, please. Like that was the only one that I was kind of confused about.
yeah.
But then they also got a good corner in Jalen Armour Davis right after that too. So what were
Yeah,
you saying, Dylan?
I was just gonna say, you're it's a third round flyer. You know what I mean? Like it's someone that is such a unique player that you just kind of gotta see in what you do with him. But I don't think a whole lot of people have a lot of expectations with him turning into a quality tackle.
Then, excuse me. And then they picked Charlie Kohler, the tight end out of Iowa State, who I think behind Greg Dulcich, I think he had like the highest like red zone rate for tight ends coming out. Um, Probably just some depth. Obviously Mark Andrews is there. They paid Mark Andrews. He's not going anywhere. You would hope. Um, they also got a punter in the fourth round, which, funnily enough, a lot of teams started to do this. Usually teams wait until like the sixth round, seventh round to pick up punters and kickers. And then last year, the Bengals they took
McPherson.
McPherson, yeah, in the fifth round, and then like this year there was like a kicker and like two punters in the fourth round,
Yeah,
which I
started
think,
by the Browns.
yeah, which I just think goes to show what these GMs really actually thought of this class. A lot of high end and mid talent, and then after that, like they just don't believe any of it.
And
And then go ahead, Dylan.
I was gonna say it's kind of a copycat league because they saw how good McPherson did. They're like, okay, well, now we
I,
can do this.
yeah, you need to. I mean, like McPherson changed the Bengals for him, won them
Yeah,
multiple games, like on game winners, and kept them in many games, and like got them points on drives that they didn't really deserve points on because they stalled out, and he got it like a 50-yard field goal. I mean, that's a great addition. People like to just bag on kickers and punters like they don't mean anything, but there's a reason why they have a position in the game.
yeah,
Um, and then after this, they just kind of took some flyers. Tyler Batty, running back in the sixth round. Darion Williams, corner from Houston in the fourth, which should be interesting. But the one that I'm interested about um, is Isaiah Likely, the tight end out of Coastal Carolina. He is a really good pass catcher out of from Coastal Carolina. I think I said that already, but
Yeah.
the Browns were also looking at him, and he's kind of like I would say, like think of like Kyle Juszczyk for him. That's kind of what I think he'll end up being in the NFL. I don't think he'll play like a pure tight end or line out on the outside kind of tight end. Like they're gonna use him, I think, as that kind of role. So like watch him come out of the backfield, see what he can do,
well,
see if like a
he
split end
kind of
tight end
reminds
would be
me of.
interested. Say it again.
You know who he kind of reminds me of? Just not exactly, but the Ravens took Darren Waller. They drafted Darren Waller.
That's true. Yeah.
as a wide receiver, and Isaiah Likely is essentially a wide receiver. Obviously, different. Darren Waller's different, but um, I just
Aaron Wall.
Ravens do things like that.
Yeah. So I'm interested about that one. But that covers up the Ravens draft. They
Yep.
did really well. Obviously, they got two really good players, just not at high positional value,
Yeah.
which ultimately doesn't matter when your team's good. So,
Yep.
moving on to our next one, Mikey. You got the Kansas City Chiefs. Traded up with the New England Patriots, which made Mikey super, super happy, and they took his boy Trent McDuffie first for them.
Yep.
Um, I think we all ended up having him higher than Stingley at the end of the year.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like production within the last 2 years a little bit
Yeah.
more than.
Yeah.
Stingley was my third, fourth.
Yeah. We don't hate Stingley, just when you can't, like Dylan said, production from the last 2 years is like nothing. So I find that difficult to trust. But McDuffie has been a baller, period,
Facts.
throughout the entire time at Washington.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a great pick. And then they also got a great edge rusher in George Karlaftis, who falls because he's not a traditional athletic freak on the edge. He's got kind of like a funkier
No, he's just a
style
really
to him.
good producer. The
Yeah,
high motor.
Yeah, he's gonna end up being great for him. Like, watch, like it's gonna. They did a really good job, and then they kind of got another wide receiver to replace Tyreek Hill, quote unquote replace. They got Sky Moore from Western Michigan, and he's really, really good. I liked that pick a lot when they got him.
Yeah.
I didn't like that pick at all, actually, but I like that pick, if that makes sense.
Well, the thing too with it is like people are gonna say, "Oh, it's a Tyreek Hill replacement." That's not how Andy Reid is looking at this. You get the person with their skill set, and you do what is gonna make them look good. And Sky Moore, he has the ability to do that downfield stuff, but he's one of the best broken tackle machines in the whole FBS last year. So
Yeah, he's no joke.
they're gonna find things for him to do, but I wouldn't expect a Tyreek Hill replacement out of him.
No. And if anybody knows that better than anyone else, it would be Andy Reid. How many teams have tried to draft that freak fast dude that has done nothing for them offensively?
Yeah,
Tyreek Hill is, the one and only Tyreek Hill for a reason. There's a reason why there's no other wide receiver like him.
yeah,
Um, he thinks Sky Moore is just a good complement for what they have in their receiving group already, with a really good potential. And a really good place to go. And Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid can't ask for a better situation to succeed than that. If you can't succeed there, good luck.
yeah.
After that, they took Brian Cook, the safety out of Cincinnati. Thought that was a good pick, helping the secondary. And then they also went defense again, and they took the Wisconsin linebacker Leo Chenal in the third round, 103.
Deal.
And then, just finishing it off in the rounds 4 through 7, they had 1/4, 1/5, and then 3/7. So a lot of practice squad guys here, most likely. They took Joshua Williams out of Fayetteville State University. That one made Bill Belichick really mad. He hasn't ticked that off of his bingo book of guys he's drafted in college yet.
He was high up on the big board for sure in Foxborough.
Yeah, that's what I've come to conclusion with Bill Belichick is he's got a bingo book of all the places that he needs to draft a guy from, and he checks off every year a new one. Then they got offensive lineman Darian Kennard from Kentucky, Jalen Watson, corner from Washington State, Isaiah Pacheco, running back from the Rutgers, and Najee Johnson, safety from Marshall. So last 4 picks most likely are going to be practice squad. Hopefully you can make the team kind of guys. But really, they did a good job with what they had, and they made trades.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
they didn't
and
give up too much.
one of the things to kind of note here too is kind of like the Packers. Everyone had them taking wide receiver in the first round, and they waited until the second. And I think that's where the value is starting to be more positive for wide receivers now. Is just waiting to the second, and then just pick the good players that fall to you in the first.
Yeah, I think it after that crazy run from like 10 to 14, There was not going to be any more receivers taken. Everybody kind of knew who the first round guys were.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's that one, and then moving on to the next one, we got the Hard Knock Boys, Detroit Lions, who they did a very good job. Very, very good job.
Yeah.
They got the best defensive end. That fell to them, the second pick, because Jacksonville decided to pick freak athleticism over tape and production. And I guess the NFL got mad at them because they didn't wait long enough to pick Aiden Hutchinson. They didn't milk it enough. They gave the card in too quickly.
Big whoop.
Which is pretty comical. I was like, the draft's already like, how long did we stream for? It was like 5 hours.
No, 3.
That was just the first round.
Yeah.
Seriously. And then a combination with a team that, hint, will be on this later on, they came up and got Jamison Williams. And not only did they get Jamison Williams, they got Jamison Williams and a haul.
Yeah.
With it. It was crazy. So there's like a point system that like each draft pick is worth, and that's how they like determine like how the trade draft picks is like if they equal out, this is a fair trade. Just some perspective on that night. The Philadelphia and Houston trade from 15 to 13 was 0.4 points away from being even. The New England and Kansas City trade, where the Kansas City Chiefs traded up, was 16 points in favor of the Patriots. The Buffalo Bills trading up with Baltimore to take their corner was a 2-point favor of the Ravens. The Titans and the Jets was 24 points in favor of the Titans, and then the Jacksonville and the Buccaneers trade going up from like the first round to the second round, or from the second round to the first round, was like a 0.2 points in favor of the Bucs, right? So like pretty similar, like it's like over under like 30 points is kind of where you want to be at. The Vikings lost by 230 points. So the Lions killed them, and that's like a divisional opponent, and they came up and they got arguably the best wide receiver in this draft with Jamison Williams, who adds a dimension to that offense they didn't have at all last year. Dylan, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry, the baby was sneezing. I really like the top 2 picks, but I'm starting to look through these other picks too, like Josh Pascal. I mean, obviously he's not the highest end, highest ceiling kind of guy, but he produced very well there. Kirby Joseph is on his way up, but I think
that
one
was
of the things
our sleepers too.
Yeah.
Kirby Joseph, we liked him a lot.
I think all of our
from
sleepers
Syracuse
got taken.
Illini.
I think all of our sleepers got taken. So, besides Austin Allen, he got signed after.
Yeah, so another of our sleepers also went in the same draft class with James Houston. But James Mitchell, I think one of the things I heard about him was he was injured for most of this year, but when he was on the field, he was looking like a killer tight end. So they might have a real, diamond in the rough with him. Malcolm Rodriguez is a sub-package linebacker that is very good, just not the NFL size that everyone wants. Then, I really like James Houston. I think he has such a high motor and he's a good dude. So I like those picks.
Yeah. And then, with Malcolm Rodriguez down to Chase Lucas, these guys are practice squad guys.
Yeah.
And they're going to get a chance to play because you saw last year that like people that should not be playing in the NFL were starting for the Lions because of injuries and lack of talent. Now they're getting these guys that they have some people interest invested in, and you might see a better outcome for them. So I'm excited for them. I'm excited for the Hard Knocks too. This makes it exciting. Those picks brings some more entertainment. And then moving on to our last winners, Dylan's favorite so far, the Houston Texans. I struggled with this. I voted for them not to be in it. I really hate the Stingley pick.
I do.
So I'll leave it up to you guys because I really have nothing nice to say about it.
I'll talk about it because I voted for him. So,
Patriots of the South.
exactly. Got to stick up for my boys. No, but I think they did. I think they did well in the first round. Obviously, getting Derek Stingley and Kenyon Green. The Derek Stingley one, obviously, a lot of people are high on him because of what he did 3.5 to 5 years ago, in that freshman year at LSU. But if you can get that out of him, then he pretty much jumps up to the best corner in the class. 100%.
Pretty much, he is.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So he's the best corner in the class if you can get him to do that. So obviously that's what people go off of because he also had the injuries. So, but I mean, you still are getting a good upside player here with Stingley, and then you also they kept their 13th pick, right?
No, they
No, they
traded back
traded
2
back
spots.
to-
Okay. Well, you traded back
Yeah.
2 spots.
Got Kenyon Green.
Yeah, you got Kenyon Green, which just boosts your offensive line now, which is great. And then second round, they picked up John Mechie, traded up for Mechie.
Yeah,
They took Petrie first.
they took Jalen
Yeah,
Petrie.
Jalen
They said,
Petrie. Yep,
Baylor
Baylor.
first.
That dude's a stud too. That's a solid pick.
Yeah, and then they got John Mechie as well.
Yeah, who's behind
Who
the faces
is-
right there.
Who is a number 2 wide receiver in the NFL. That's what he was at Alabama. And that's what he'll be in the NFL, and that is not a bad thing.
Oh no,
Like,
he's
he
a
is
solid
a-
dude.
Yeah, he gets into the spots that he needs to. He runs his routes the way he's supposed to. He is a QB friendly wide receiver. Like, I think he's a really good wide receiver.
Yeah, I think
He just doesn't have that like take the top off potential.
Yeah, I think he has a few like inconsistency kind of issues. Like few games he's super high, like holy crap, like this dude could be like the number 1 receiver on Alabama. Then he kind of drops off a game or two, and then he's back to being John Mechie, doing good things, and then he drops off a little bit. But that's a lot of players. But John Mechie, I was high on him. I kind of wanted the Patriots to try and pick him up eventually, but
Same.
goes to the Texans here. And who was their third round pick?
So the third round pick, they also went Alabama. They took the linebacker Christian Harris.
That is a good pick too.
Good pick for them as well.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
And then they took their home run hitting running back Damian Pierce from Florida.
Yeah.
The guy's he's an explosive muscle hamster. That guy is like built stout, and he fires out of can. He's really fun to watch. And then after that, they took defensive lineman Thomas Booker, tight end from Oregon State, Tegan Quinterino, and then they took the LSU guy. In the 6th round, it doesn't matter. He's a practice squad guy. Hopefully,
Yeah.
he can make the team. I need to look it up. Austin Deculus, that's who it is. So, but I mean, overall, a good high-end draft. They improved their team,
Yes.
and that's kind of how you base this off. Off. They had the capital. They had the capital. Did they ruin it, or did they do a good job with it? And they did a good job with
Yes,
it.
they did. They drafted a bunch of needs. They needed a bunch of positions. They got corner, line, receiver, running back, DB, like safety / another corner, like linebacker. Like these dudes went ham with these picks, and they did a good job with their picks. That's why I think they deserve to be up here because of the quality that they still drafted with all their picks. So
For sure. Oh. And moving towards more of a negative note, we talked about them earlier. We got the Minnesota Vikings, who traded down from a spot where they could have gotten an impact player or gotten a haul, and instead dropped down 20 spots to the 32nd overall and took Lewis Sign and lost the trade by almost a record margin.
Yeah, I mean, at least the player that they traded didn't go to a team in their own division, right?
No, he did.
Oh, so they have to also play that person 2 times a year for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, but they made him really good, and then they got somebody that's going to get burned by him like he did multiple times last year.
So they didn't take Trent McDuffie, number 2 cornerback, on the board, right?
No. He was picked up before they were able to because they traded back 20 spots. Yeah. Basically, I feel like this, the only way you could spin this if you're a Vikings fan is, yeah, we took the hit and let the Lions get better, but they'll never be good because they're the Lions. But we screwed the Packers out of taking a wide receiver. If that's how you want to sleep at night, go right ahead. But yikes.
Enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah. Lewis Sign, though, nothing against him. I like him as the player. I just think that's a painful punch in the mouth to have to take. And then they got Andrew Booth in the second round. He fell for a little bit. Um, doesn't he have like the shortest arms?
No, that's Roger McCreary.
Roger McCreary. Okay, good. He's got injury concerns. I know that for Andrew Booth.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I'm not exactly sure why he fell so much. I actually quite like him.
I think he's really good.
Yeah, I quite like him. So I thought that was a good pick. I thought that was better than the pick for Sign.
Yep.
And then they took a guard, Ed Ingram, out of LSU, which doesn't really make too much sense. I guess I guess one of their biggest holes, according to some people, was guard, so they filled that spot. I just thought it was kind of a reach. And then they went and got Brian Asamoah, linebacker out of Oklahoma. I don't like him, but it fits the linebacking group that the Vikings do like. Those really rangy, fast linebackers, like Anthony Barr. They do like that kind of style, so he does fit that mold. They got a Caleb, a Caleb Evans, corner from Missouri. They also got Ezi Atimowo, the end out of Minnesota. That should tell you all you need to know about him. They got Ty Chandler, the running back out of North Carolina, which is just kind of, take a practice squad guy. Maybe he makes the team for you, and that's kind of what the rest of their picks were. I don't think they made their team better with this draft.
One position, corner, in a sense, just because of Andrew
But-
Booth.
But
That's
they
it.
didn't, is that better though?
No,
Than what they were last year, or is it just getting better because they lost 3 of their corners?
Yeah, they didn't
But
get better. They had one good pick, basically, is what I'm saying.
Andrew
Yeah.
Booth is going to be their best cornerback.
He will be, yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's just interesting. But moving on to a funnier one. Poor Justin Fields.
Yeah,
I mean,
this
honestly.
is. I mean, maybe we look back and are like, oh man, they got 10 Pro Bowlers or whatever. But just looking on the face of this, like, yeah, I mean, you got your franchise quarterback that is starved of wide receiver talent outside of Darnell Mooney, starved of offensive line talent, and you wait until round 5 to get your offensive lineman, and you wait until round 3 to get your wide receiver, who's 24 years old and not that great.
Yeah. Honestly, Darnell Mooney, when he leaves the Bears, when his contract's up, is going to blow up. Like the guy is special, and they don't even have enough time for him to develop in routes because their offensive line is so bad. So bad. And it's not like they got better in the offseason through free agency. They didn't. And yeah, I don't know. I do like the Kyler Gordon and the Jacon Brisker picks, by the way. I think those are good picks. Player wise, I think those are good picks. I just don't think that that doesn't help them right away. You guys are going to wait until his 4th year, maybe picking up his 5th year option before you can even see what Justin Fields is. Because after this year, it'll be his 3rd year. And then you say you draft a really good rookie. You still have to wait for that, to decide. You can't take a quarterback so early and then not give him anything to start off with. And I'm telling you this as a Browns fan where I saw it multiple times. You pick that quarterback and you talk about how it's going to change you and how it's going to help your team. Well, it doesn't when you don't have anything else. When you don't have the weapons to help them, it's going to be awful. And Justin Fields has just got no chance. I feel bad for him. But that's the biggest loser. Not even the Bears per se, just Justin Fields. Biggest loser for this one.
yeah.
So, moving on to the last and final loser. We had the Washington Commies in here. They traded back which wasn't a bad trade. They did pretty decent on it, and then they picked Jahan Dotson with it, which I think is
I,
kind of a reach.
yeah. Well, the thing is they traded out of the pick that was taken for Chris Olave to pick
Right.
up Jahan Dotson, which I don't get why I do that. And then your next two picks are your secure positions on the team, defensive line and running back. So, yeah, good luck, commies.
Um, and you're picking up another wide receiver that, um, so they
Should have gone in there in round two.
well, that, but I was just reading what they got back. They got back the 98th and the 120th picks, and they used that to trade multiple times. So
Oh,
interesting what they did.
yeah.
Um, yeah, they didn't have a lot of picks, as you can tell. I mean, they have a first, a second, a fourth, and then sixth and seventh rounders, and that's it. But like you said, they picked a wide receiver that should have gone on the side. Like the Browns were looking at him to like pick up at 44. Like that was one of the serious guys that they were looking at. That shouldn't be like. I think Jahan Dotson himself is a really good player. I've talked about it before. I think he reminds me a ton of Antonio Brown. But you pick a wide receiver that your quarterback that you just traded for has never clicked with that kind of wide receiver ever in his career.
Yeah.
Ever. Like that is just not the style that
Cool. And you also have
Carson
Terry
Wentz goes for.
McLaurin, who's not a big guy. You have De'Ami Brown, who isn't a big guy. Cam Sims, I don't think is a big guy either.
Nope.
And yeah, I just
It's
man,
just an interesting formulation.
And Curtis
Uh,
Samuel.
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, Carson Wentz did a great job getting the ball to what's his face and at the Eagles, Jalen Rager. So
That's sarcasm, right?
yeah, sarcasm.
Okay, good. They got Fedarian Mathis, he's a good player for the spot. Kind of what was like just good available left. But if you're gonna trade down, might as well trade down there too.
Yeah.
And then they got Brian Robinson Jr. because they were really lacking at the running back position. They took that with one of their only good picks of this draft, one of their top three picks. They took another running back, which makes no sense. They took Percy Butler out of Louisiana. I didn't like him, but he's a 6th round pick, so you can't really complain about that. Um, then they got in the 7th round Cole Turner, Chris Paul, and Christian Holmes. Guys that if they make your team, great. If not, it's a 7th round pick. And then they also picked up Sam Howell, which is the only like interesting one. They're pairing him up again with Dwami Brown, who was his boy back in North Carolina. That he did really well with. Prior to this year, he was talked about being a top 5 pick before this last year of North Carolina being pretty bad. And they get him in the 7th round. So I think it's a pretty decent pick up there. But he's Baker Mayfield. Like everything about him, he's literally Baker Mayfield. And if you get Baker Mayfield in the 7th round, that's actually pretty decent, But we shall see. I just think that they did a poor job. Not one of my favorite drafts for sure. You're muted, Dill.
Still muted.
Jeez.
There you go.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, my mic is just all over the place today. This might be a hot take, but I can see a chance where you get more production out of your last 4 picks than your first 4 picks. And I only say that sarcastic or semi-sarcastically, but what happens if Sam Howell becomes your starter for the next, 3-4 years or whatever? Then Cole Turner becomes a good tight end because a lot of people have good grades on him. Chris Paul definitely has the ability to play guard in the NFL, and who knows about Christian Holmes? But I mean, Dotson, maybe he's overshadowed by McLaurin and Curtis Samuel. Darian Mathis is overshadowed by everyone else on that D line, and Ryan Robinson gets overshadowed by Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick. I don't know. Just what if your last 4 picks in the 7th round are better than all your other picks?
I could see it.
Yeah.
But
Just another interesting dumpster fire that the Commanders are having.
Oh yeah.
Feel bad for the fans, but I don't know why I should. I mean, their organization literally poops on them.
Yeah.
Literally. So. But if you made it to the end of this video, we do appreciate it. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and follow us for more NFL content. We'll be putting some out soon. So.